Hi, and welcome to this B1 UP session. In this session, I will take a look at a very common, let's call it a mistake that many people do when using the B1 validation configuration. And it's related to the event and that we have two different events, one called item pressed and one called click. So this session will tell you what the difference between the two are, which one is best to use and when. So let's present the difference between the two events. Item pressed is the most common one, and if we go to document some sort, let's take a sales order, and we press the button, we will get an item pressed. But okay, what is click then? Well, click is actually just moving the left mouse button down. So I'm now holding down the mouse button and I have actually at that point made a click event. I have not made an item pressed event because I have not released the mouse. If I release it, get the item pressed. While in other cases, if I again make the click event by holding down the mouse, move the mouse away from the button and lift the mouse, I have not made an item pressed because I didn't actually press the button, I only clicked it. So it is with that difference that many people have their mistake. Because many people just go about making their configuration, put in the system, but instead of item pressed, choose click. Let's make a dummy message here and add this. Let's try what that actually happens to. So let me fill out the sales order, put in a few pieces of data, put it in, and let me try to just left click the add button without actually lifting the mouse. So as soon as I try to move the mouse button down, I get my message. So essentially I got it before I actually did the item pressed. And that can end up giving all the kinds of different errors, because if it was only when I clicked it that something actually happened, I now end up with a lot of trouble. So instead, if I go in, change to the more convenient item pressed, then if I now down click the left mouse button, I haven't released it yet, I can remove it away and click away, and I'm still not getting my event. While if I just press my event, I actually get my event. Item press is not only for buttons. That's the main reason why it's not called button pressed, is because again, if you need to react to going to the logistics tab or any of the tabs, it's not a click event either, it's an item pressed event. The same for pressing the golden arrows and checking out some checkboxes. We have one here. Here are some checkboxes. That will also be item pressed and not clicks. So far we haven't really found an event where click makes sense. So where does it make sense? Well, again, let me take the checkbox and say if I click this, I want to have it that I can actually item press it. But what if I wanted instead to make some custom system where I'm not allowed to change this? So if I made that my allowed partial delivery is item 137, if I change that to 137, it would be the one we're reacting on. And if I press it, you can see I got my message, but I actually got it after the change. So if that was trying to block me from actually changing that. It didn't do that. And again, the same way around. If I change it to click, then it's before it actually happens. So if I do it now, you can see I actually got my message, and because my dummy message was stopping me from doing anything with the block, you can see that it's blocked. The same way for trying to click a field. If I say this customer reference field, which is item 14, and say item pressed, you will see that I will never actually get an item pressed from a field. So if I wanted to do something special whenever I enter that field, I would either need to go in and use the got focus, or I actually get the events of click when I actually try to do it. So you can see I get a click event, but in that special case, got focus is better, because if I go into a field above it and use the mouse to get into the field, I can still get in the field. So that for that reason, it's not a good way to use for blocking, as it was in the checkbox. But if you for some reason needed to get the event, and in the same way, if you need to take hold of one of the labels, like this one, item 15, we can see that item pressed will not happen on this, no matter how much I click, while a click will happen on it. So this is the difference between them. As a side note, people already having configurations like this, where you actually just use click, might think, okay, I have seen this happen. My event is in terms of what Rasmus here is saying incorrect, but I have used this a ton of time now with my configuration, and it works. So why should I change it? Well, there's also one additional benefit of using item pressed. It's not only the recommendation, and that is because if we do this and say let's catch every single item press that happens on the screen, we can go in here, you can see that every time we press somewhere, an item pressed happens. I press the button, I press one of these, I get my item pressed. But if we change it instead to get it to click, you'll see that a lot more click events will happen during a session, and every time an event essentially happens, we need to react to it. So in terms of performance, click is actually worse to catch than item pressed as well, because in terms of using this screen, if we didn't put the pop-up all the time, you'll perhaps get a few hundred click events during working with this system, while only a couple of dozens if you actually use the item pressed. So not only is it more correct, it's also better performance-wise. So this was what I wanted to accomplish with this session, to tell the difference between item pressed, which is used 95% of the times, while having click in a very few specific blocking scenarios that you need to use it in, but else it's item pressed that you use. So thank you for attending this session, and hope you learned something.
This concludes this session. For training material, please go to service.boyum-it.com/education, or if you want a free demo of the product, go to license.boyum-it.com/b1up. If you want to contact us, you can do it either by our sales email or our support email. Thank you for attending.